Atlanta is well known for many things. Sports teams like the Falcons, Braves, Atlanta United, and the Hawks. Atlanta is also home to some of the world's biggest music industry stars. Atlanta is the Hollywood of the South. It is also a culinary dream with some of the best restaurants in the nation. What you may not know about Atlanta is that it is home to some of the most beautiful street artists with murals all over the city. Gone are the days of illegal graffiti and tagging. Today, the streets of Atlanta are colorful with commissioned murals created by talented artists. If you're an artist with the desire to make an excellent income as an artist, this story is for you. These four creatives prove that it's possible to highly monetize your work and thrive as a professional. Today, I'm bringing you the story of four thriving artists. Ashley Bella, CEO of Artsy Bella, Olive 47, Honey Pierre, and last but not least, Sunitna. These four creative professionals have contributed to Atlanta's colorful landscape. Let's get to know these artists and find out how they got their juices flowing. Wellspring Living Building, where Ashley Bella was commissioned to paint this beautiful mural. Not only does Ashley have an impressive portfolio of commercial clients, she also runs her very own successful studio, Artsy Bella, where it's dedicated to showing other creatives how to monetize their work. Ashley was a Forbes 1000 honoree, so let's meet Ashley Bella. Hi Ashley, I'm excited to speak with you. Your career is very impressive and your artwork is amazing.
Oh, thank you so much.
Of course. Are you from Atlanta?
I am. I'm originally from the city of College Park, from Washington Road. And then as we got a little older, we moved to Southwest Atlanta, which is city of Atlanta, but the Southwest part off Campbellton Road.
Okay.
Yeah.
How old were you when your family realized you were artistic and gifted?
Oh, I was really young. So when I was, I guess, 5 or 6, we were visiting this church in the neighborhood, and every Easter, they would always get the kids to draw like decorations for Easter. And I think that was the first time my mom saw that I had talent. Then in elementary school, I was being tested for what they call the Talented and Gifted or TAG program. And part of the test is you have to draw how you interpret certain words or phrases. And my teacher pulled me out of class and into the principal's office to let me know that they had called my parents to let them know that they felt like I had really exceptional talent and I needed to make sure that I did something with it one day.
Nice. Were there any artists in your family?
My mom used to draw a lot. She says she will tell everybody that I got my gift from her. My mom definitely used to draw when she was younger. Well, actually, and my mom's dad was a painter also. So he inspired me once I did start painting eventually.
Did you study art at a university like SCAD or the Art Institute?
I went to Georgia State University and majored in studio art there. But I also had a passion for math and business and problem solving. So I changed my degree to art administration so that I could combine my work in studio art theater with business because I guess I enjoy the business of art too.
How did you start your career professionally as an artist?
I was working in mental health for a very long time. And the latter part of that career, I worked with sex trafficking survivors. And a lot of those girls and women were struggling with a lot of the real life kind of problems they were having as they were trying to transition into a healthier lifestyle, what we perceive to be a healthier lifestyle. And so we tried making art with them and found that it was one of the only things that was helping with creating a healthy distraction and giving them a way to express themselves. And so they inspired me to do that work with other people and to also stop wasting my talent because I had stopped making art for a very long time. And so because of their motivation and because I wanted to figure out how to use my talent, how to take my talent, monetize it, and build wealth with it so that I could still do community work, but from on a higher level, and knowing that I could figure out how to use art to do that. Those were the elements that pushed me to go ahead and just quit my job and jump into entrepreneurship and being an artist full time.
Nice. Some of your corporate clients are Delta, MARTA, City of College Park, and Will Springs Living. Who are some of your other corporate clients?
Oh, let's see. I've worked with NCR, National Collections Recovery. It's located downtown. They have a very big office here. Also, Kaiser Permanente is one of my biggest customers. I do a lot of things with them. And let's see, who else? City of College Park, City of East Point, City of South Fulton. I'm working with the Aerotropolis Development Authority, which is handling all of the growth and redevelopment happening on the south side of Atlanta. I've also worked very closely with Georgia State University. I've done something with Georgia Tech, and the list is hopefully going to continue to just keep growing.
Of course. For decades, the street art scene was an illegal underground subculture. How did you become an artist that corporations, communities, and cities call upon?
Well, I had to figure out how to still make art. Like when you look at street art, there's something very honest and authentic about that work. Actually, that's something that people look for when they're looking at art. They may not realize it. And it's something that attracts people to a piece of work. I will usually create an original design that's my creative mind, based on a theme that they get to choose, that they feel fits what they want to see in their building or outside their building. Doing that is something that helps them easily want to hire me to put art on their walls for them.
Nice. Has your work been featured in magazines, galleries, or museums?
I just did an article with the Atlanta Voice, and I have had my work showcased at Georgia State University. I did do an art show. Castleberry does an art stroll every year. That was one of the first art exhibitions I did. But now that I'm kind of getting my company to a stable place, I'm able to create more time to build my own body of work. So if you ask me that again in about 6 to 9 months, I do hope to have my work in at least one gallery and at least possibly one piece in a museum before the year is over.
Of course. Old school street artists use spray paint to create murals. What kind of paint do you use?
I use acrylic paint on all of my murals. There are sometimes I do commission pieces on canvas. Sometimes it's acrylic, but I really love using oils. They're complicated and it's complex, but my brain kind of works that way. And so there's so many different techniques and processes involved with oil painting that it's just something I'm naturally most attracted to.
Oh, that's kind of me with math.
Oh, really?
Does it take a team to complete your murals like Will Springs Living and City of College Park, or does it take a team? I mean, or do you have to do it alone? Sorry.
When I first started, I did all my murals alone, but having a team helps. One, it helps me not be so tired. I'm getting older, and standing on your feet for 10 to 12 hours a day is very taxing on your body. But the other thing is it allows me to take on more projects by having help. The other thing that it does is it gives me an opportunity to create jobs and help other creatives, especially young creatives, minority creatives, and female creatives, to have an opportunity to know what it's like to actually make money using your talent. When I was growing up, all of the creative kids were taught these are cute hobbies, but you can't turn them into careers.
How do you come up with your inspiration and ideas for each mural?
I sometimes go to a really dark and frustrated place where I'm like, I have no idea how to take this idea, this theme, and then turn it into something. So I have to get really frustrated first. And then what I do is I kind of look for indicators in that frustration that help me hone in on what I want to design. I think about the most complex parts that I'm trying to convey visually. And I allow myself to sit with those, the ones that are the hardest to try to figure out how do I take that concept and visually represent it. And then I just start sketching things that remind me of it. Like I might take one idea and sketch it in 10 different ways, and then looking and seeing at which ones speak to me the most. And then playing with color. I love taking my sketches and then putting them into my iPad Pro or my laptop and then uploading it into Photoshop and just toying with colors and seeing what it would look, envisioning what it would look like on the wall.
What are you working on now, or is it top secret?
I'm working on a lot. There are a few things that are top secret. I can give some hints. I may possibly be the wall that you guys said that you saw might be doing another one for them. There's another wall there. I also have a couple of projects, a mini golf course where I'll be designing some artwork, a new mini golf course coming to the city. And then the cities that I do a lot of work with, including City of South Fulton, City of College Park, and Airtropolis, all have some public art and mural projects that I'll be participating in. And then also the developers that built the building where my studio is in East Point, they hired me to do a mural on the rooftop of the building where my studio is. And I just completed that. And now I will be doing one at one of their other locations and hoping to do more over time.
Nice. Ashley, you have a successful studio where you host artist events and private creative wellness sessions. How long did it take for you to go from a part-time freelancer to a successful full-time artist?
You ask a lot of great questions. I technically started the business in 2015. And at that time, I was just doing part-time gigs here and there, doing art projects for people, doing small events. And I would say every year I decided to take on more. I made it a goal. I'm going to do this many more art classes, and I'm going to try to make this many more different commissions for people. And I just increased that number every year if I met it the previous year, until I had comfortably been able to create enough income to take care of all of the overhead that it requires to have an art studio. Once I knew that I could at least take care of that, then I kind of started doing it full time.
What advice would you give that artist that wants to take their career from a hobby to a full-time thriving career?
The two mindset things that I think are most important is one, self-esteem, because the way that you see yourself and the value that you see in your own work is going to come off to other people. And it's going to be a big determining factor in the level of confidence you're able to have, and having a strong sense of self, because it's going to take time before people really buy into you. And so you have to be okay with people not getting it in the beginning, and you can't let that waver your confidence. And so the second thing that I was going to say is you have to acknowledge that fear, even though it's not a real thing, it's still something that happens. You just have to learn how to use it. And I would say the last thing when it comes to mindset, I would tell artists is to be open to learning and absorbing as much information from your environment and the people around you. Oh, and don't listen to people. Fear guns. People are going to tell you no. They're going to tell you you're crazy. They're going to say this doesn't make sense. They're going to say, I don't get it. But why would they? It's your vision, not theirs. And so you have to be okay with people not understanding and just trust yourself and do it anyway.
Well, that's all the questions I have. It was
that's it.
Thank you for your time, and I'm looking forward to seeing your project. I had so much fun interviewing Ashley. She's the perfect blend of creativity and entrepreneurship. Next stop is Olive 47. I'm here at the Oxbox mural on the Atlanta Beltline. This amazing mural was painted by Olive 47. To say that Olive has murals all over Atlanta is an understatement. She is a thriving muralist and her work spans both commercial and residential properties. Here's Olive's story.
Hi, Olive. It's exciting to meet you. I love your work.
Thank you.
So, Olive, you have a lot of work here in Atlanta, but you live in California. Where are you originally from?
I'm originally from Chattanooga,
Oh.
in Tennessee. I grew up in Chattanooga and I went to SCAD. And after SCAD, I moved to Portland. And I didn't really like Portland, but I liked Seattle. And so I was going to come back out to Seattle, but I stopped to see my college roommate who was living here, who was working for DreamWorks, and fell in love with the city and just stayed here instead of moving.
How old were you when your family noticed you had an artistic gift?
Pretty young. Like I'd say like around like 3, my dad's an artist.
How did you start your career professionally as an artist?
I still don't know if I have. So I went to art school and I kind of fell into a job doing design for a company which was called Launch. And it was kind of like the first ideas of like virtual reality. And that company later became Yahoo Music. So then I ended up just doing like graphic design, street art, because like when I was bored, I would like just doodle to teach myself like Photoshop and Illustrator. And then like I was doing stickers for all the companies I worked for.
You have corporate clients like Icebox, but you also have residential clients. Do you consider yourself mostly a commercial or a residential artist?
I mean, it's pretty evenly split. I prefer doing like people's houses and stuff like that, because even though the community really enjoys like the Icebox mural and that kind of stuff, there's just like a more personal connection with like the client. So it's really nice, like doing something that like really means something to the people.
Did you work with any other corporate clients? Do you have any other corporate clients?
Yeah, I worked with Bayer, like Bayer Aspirin. They're in Atlanta. The mural's still there. I forget the neighborhood. It was near Decatur. I've worked with Red Bull, like lots of record companies, EMI, Universal, Virgin. So a lot of that.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Street art subculture was illegal and underground for decades. How did you build your reputation as a professional artist?
Like one day I was just like Googling my name and I came across this website, and it was this artist, Chris, and he's in a crew called Robots Will Kill, and they're out of New York City. And he had started like documenting everybody. And that's how I kind of found like it was a scene. Like a lot of the street artists in the early 2000s, we would like all hang out on Flickr and like talk on there and that kind of thing. And everybody sort of started meeting and organizing through that. And then that's how you would get into like shows and things like that. So.
Has your work been featured in any magazines, galleries, or museums?
I have work in the Victoria and Albert Museum in London. It's called the V&A. I mean, lots of galleries, like here in Los Angeles, GABA Gallery, Regime Contemporary. There in Atlanta, I showed at Nelson Street Gallery and a few others. Yeah, I mean.
Cool. Old school street artists use spray paints to create their murals. What kind of paint do you use?
I primarily use house paint, mainly because I've got really bad asthma and allergies. I can spray paint. If I'm doing an event with somebody and that's what they've got, I can do it. I just prefer the house paint because of the like properties of the paint. House paint stays around longer. Like, you know, that's why like in a lot of my murals in Atlanta, you'll see like they're not so chipped. You know what I mean? And it's because like house paint's just designed to last longer than spray paint, because spray paint's not really meant to be used on a building.
How do you come up with your inspiration and ideas for your murals, like the ice on the box building?
The icebox one was client led, and they wanted like a patchwork of like different Atlanta icons, and they had a lot of like ideas for specific spaces. With corporate clients, you kind of like just give yourself over to that. I'm really inspired by nature. So like that's why you see like a lot of bees and flowers and nature iconography.
Does it take a team to complete a mural like Icebox, or do you work on them alone?
Icebox I worked on completely alone.
Oh.
I've had murals where like I had like really tight deadlines. So then I'll have an assistant. Or if it's just really big and I don't want to work on it by myself, sometimes it's fun and people like to come out, and it's nice to like have people hanging out with you. So it kind of depends on like the size too.
What are you working on now, or is it top secret?
Right now I'm working on NFTs, and like I just finished a series of 101 illustrations of like different species of mushrooms, because that was my favorite food growing up. Like I was a totally weird kid. I studied like where they grew, and I found out like all the scientific facts about them, like what kind of spores they would release, and I'm pretty geeky.
What advice do you give that artist that wants to take their career from a hobby to a full-time career?
Don't ever compare yourself to anyone else. If you really want to like make it your career, like do what you do and do it like the best you can do it, because it's like that authenticity and originality. That's what I think stands out these days. When you start like comparing yourself to others and like thinking, oh, I should be here, or you know what I mean, that kind of starts messing with your head. And I've seen like a lot of people give up because of, they think they should be like where Shepherd Ferry is, but they've only been working a year, or things like that. So, I think that's really the best way. It's just like, I think that applies in kind of anything, you know what I mean? It's like just figuring out what you want to do and focus, and like, not to be like, I'm the greatest all the time, but like have faith in what you do.
Well, thanks, Olive, for your time. It was really nice talking to you. You're truly a gifted artist.
Oh, thank you.
I had a great time talking with Olive. Fun fact, she has more murals around Atlanta than just about any other street artist. Next stop is Honey Pierre. This is Honey Pierre in front of her most popular mural community. Honey is a multi-talented artist who works as a muralist, piercer, and a tattoo artist. Here's her story.
Hi, Honey. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule. Your work is really impressive and you're extremely talented.
Thank you.
So you're from Cleveland, Ohio, right?
Yeah, I'm actually in Cleveland. I just got to Cleveland a few days ago.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm from.
Oh, what brought you to Atlanta?
Honestly, just my career and wanting to really grow and learn more about being an artist, and just like what steps to take. Even though I could do that here, I felt like Atlanta was where I wanted to start it off at with my art journey.
Oh. How old were you when you and your family realized you had an artistic gift?
My mom told me like around 8 or 9 is when she started noticing me like drawing even heavily, like past like what we normally would do in school and stuff.
Oh.
So yeah, around 8 or 9 years old.
Did you inherit this gift from a parent or grandparent?
In my family, there's like 2 artists. My uncle, he was a airbrush and portrait artist, and then my brother, he does portrait work mostly too.
Oh. Did you receive any formal art education in a college like SCAD or the Art Institute?
No, I didn't have a chance to go to college for it. I am considering doing it in my 30s to go back to school, because I went to school originally for sports medicine. So,
How'd you get started as a piercer?
I had just gotten out of the military, and I wanted to get into like the body art industry, like tattooing and stuff. I originally had a tattoo apprenticeship, and then I don't know, I just switched gears and I did piercing instead. And I've been doing it for 5 years now.
Oh. What was your inspiration when creating your murals like Community and For Only Love Can Conquer Hate?
For the community mural, it was basically just about having our communities unite and come together, because our country has pretty much failed us in the sense of trying to unify and help the Black and Brown communities, and this social and racial injustice that we pretty much have every day. And I just wanted to put a message of all of us just coming together and working. For the Marvin Gaye one, it was for Joe Ossoff's campaign. They had me do a mural for him, and he just wanted to put out a good positive message about, like, you know, coming together and stuff. And I had Marvin Gaye, that song in my head for a long time, and they agreed the message would be a good one for his campaign.
How long did it take for you to go from a part-time freelancer to a thriving full-time artist?
Pretty much staying motivated and focused on the goal, because I made goals that I want to reach, and I'm still reaching some of them. But just being determined and just going after what I wanted, and looking jobs and looking for work, and, you know, just networking with the right people so that I can sustain being full-time, you know, for as long as I want, you know. And it's hard, don't get me wrong, but I like it.
Has your work been featured in any magazines, galleries, or museums?
Magazines, just a few local ones. I've been in over, I believe, 15 galleries. I'm about to do my first solo museum exhibit this Friday. And that's why I'm in Cleveland, because we're doing it at the MoCA. But yeah, 15 galleries.
Nice. Old school street artists use spray paint to create their murals. What kind of paint do you use?
The paint that I use is it's bare paint. I don't really use spray paint all like that. I'm not really good at controlling spray paint yet. Still learning. But yeah, I just use bare paint, just outdoor exterior.
Does it take a team to create a large mural, or do you usually do it alone?
It does take a team, especially if it's a big wall. But I do most of my work by myself. If it's like smaller scale, I got a few larger scale murals coming up these next few months. And I will be having a team, because it always makes it easier. And plus, it's like you're teaching other people how to do murals, or if they already do murals, you know, they're just adding on their talent.
Nice. What are you working on now, or is it top secret?
Well, I'm about to be complete with the exhibit. We just got everything done. Right now, it's just me getting ready to do some murals, because it's mural season, because it's getting warmer, and just sending off my information to different galleries and museums, since this exhibit's about to be over with, and do some residencies, you know, because that's important to do also. So, yeah.
Nice. Well, honey Pierre, thank you so much for your time. I can't wait to see your upcoming work.
I can't wait to see where Honey will go in her career. Our final stop is Sunitna, one of Atlanta's most successful street artists and muralists. I'm here at the Stronger Together mural, visiting one of Atlanta's most successful muralists. Sunitna has a very impressive commercial portfolio, and his work is featured all over the city. Let's hear a story.
Hello, thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule. Your work is truly amazing, and you have so much work all over Atlanta. So Sunitna, you live in Atlanta, right?
I do, yeah. So I'm over in Decatur.
Oh, were you born and raised here?
No, I was born in Kansas City, but I've been here since probably when I was like 3 years old. So it's been a long time.
Okay. How old were you when you and your family realized you had an artistic gift?
That's a good question. I'm not sure, honestly. I think it's just always been there. There have been I have memories of me being probably about 5 or 6, drawing on my apartment walls with crayons. So it's always just sort of been there. Like I've just always been doodling.
Cool. Did you inherit this gift from a parent or grandparent?
That's a good question too. I'm not sure, honestly. I think that my mom she's creative, but she doesn't really draw. And I'm not sure about my dad. I don't think my dad was very artistic, but I know that there's creativity in the family, but I haven't traced it to any one particular person. So yeah, I'm not sure, honestly.
Did you receive any formal art education in college, like SCAD?
Yeah, I did. Actually, I started out at UGA and I started studying drawing and painting there. But then I got a little bit of cold feet. And so I switched majors from drawing and painting and fine art to graphic design. And so ever since then, I've had one foot in both sort of disciplines. So I do graphic design and art direction and branding on one half of my life. And then the other half, I do gallery work, public art, so that kind of stuff.
Okay. There was a time when being an artist was not thought of as a money-making profession. It wouldn't have been considered an honorable career. In fact, anyone in anything creative would have been labeled as a starving artist. You definitely proven that wrong. Just a few of your corporate clients are Red Bull, Wellstar Medical, and Colony Square. How did you start your career as a professional artist?
So I started out doing design as a career first, but I'd always romanticized being an artist. And so just as I had time, I would do art on the side. And whenever opportunities would pop up, I would take them. And it just sort of snowballed from there. It wasn't like a calculated thing. I wish I had been that calculating, but it was just a really organic thing where I started doing one thing and that led to another. And then it just sort of expanding from there.
Who were some of your other corporate clients?
MailChimp, I don't know if you know them. There's Pepsi, there's Adidas, AT&T. We've got, you've mentioned Red Bull. We've got, actually I have a list, hold on. I'm gonna pull it up really quickly. We've got the Braves, we got Atlanta United, we got AT&T, Heineken, Oakland Cemetery.
Me and my friends eat at Oakland Cemetery for lunch, like all the time.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite places in the city.
There was a time when street art was illegal. How did you become the artist that corporations, communities, and cities call upon?
So I've had a lot of friends who were graffiti writers, but that was never my background, you know? And so the way that I got into street art was actually through a friend of mine. You may know him. His name is Peter Ferrari, and he has this basically mural festival that goes on in Cabbagetown called Forward Warrior. And one day he was just like, "Hey, would you like to paint a wall?" And I had never done that before, but I really love challenges and like the opportunities to fail and learn. And so I took him up on it, and from that one wall, someone noticed it. Sort of to what I was talking about earlier, where it became an organic thing. Someone saw the wall, and then it just sort of escalated from there. The thing about Atlanta is the creative community is pretty small, and so if you're doing good work and you're a good, you're a decent human being, then you get noticed and you get supported. And I just had built a network of connections, and it just sort of came from there. So I wish I had that kind of clout where I was like a graffiti writer and it was illegal, but that just wasn't me.
How long did it take for you to go from a part-time freelancer to a thriving full-time career?
It's been a while. I'd say probably at least a decade. So like I was saying, when I started out in design, I was just doing the art on the side, and I actually gave myself a deadline of like 5 years. And if I didn't make a lot of traction within 5 years, I was actually going to stop. But within that 5 years, it actually started really improving for me. So I think the broad timeline is probably about 8 years, but like the really, really focused timeline is about 5.
Has your work been featured in magazines, galleries, or museums?
Museums, yeah. High Museum. So I had a piece in the show there. I've had profiles in different magazines and newspapers. The last big profile was in the New York Times. When the election was going on, I was doing these basically calls for people to register to vote. And so there was a big profile on people who were within that space. And I was one of the people that they did a profile on.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How did you come up with each idea for your public murals?
So those actually depend upon the wall. So sometimes if there are commissioned, I actually work with the commissioner to come up with the idea. And so they'll have like creative parameters, basically saying, I'm looking for this. Can you just give me some ideas? And so that's one type of wall. And the other type of wall is where I can do whatever I want. So that's one of the Ford Warrior pieces that I was talking about. A lot of times it's just me, how I'm feeling in the mood. If there's a book that I've just read, there's an idea that I want to sort of get across, and that's me wanting to go experiment. So there are two different types of walls. So it honestly just depends.
Old school street artists use spray paint to create their murals. What kind of paint are you using?
Both. I'm using spray paint. My can control isn't as good as I'd like. I just haven't had the time to really develop it. But otherwise, it's brush and house paint. It's basically just latex paint. I love seeing brush strokes and things like that. That's the other reason is I just sort of I love the mark making of brushes. And so that's why I don't do spray paint as much as I do.
Oh. Does it take a team to create a large mural like Our Lady and Lucky Street, or do you usually do it alone?
I try to do everything alone because I have a very specific process, and a lot of times it takes more time for me to explain and sort of try to get what I want out of it. Sometimes I work with organizations like Living Walls. I don't know if you've known about Living Walls, but Living Walls is a pretty big public arts organization here in Atlanta, and they'll have volunteers who want to help. And sometimes, I'll have volunteers to help me, but I try to do everything by myself. I'm pretty fast on my own. And that's the thing for me, is just trying to be fast and efficient. And having another person in there is just, it's like too many cooks in the kitchen for me sometimes.
Oh, that makes sense. Which public mural did you find the most challenging and why?
Let's see. The wonderful thing about all the pieces that I've done is they've all been opportunities to learn. And I think that's the thing that I appreciate the most. The one that really stands out for me is several years back, I did a wall that was all brick, and it was really jagged brick. And so I couldn't use brush because I couldn't get into the crevices. So I had to use spray paint. And this is like the largest wall I had ever done with spray paint. And so I had to figure out to do everything like on the fly. And that one is called, no, I've already forgot the name of it. I can send you a link to that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which public mural did you find the most rewarding and why?
It's like trying to ask who your favorite child is. I'm not sure. They all mean something to me. Probably the one that comes to the top of my head is Our Lady of Beaufort Highway, because as a kid I had grown up there, not grown up there, but I had always sort of been there, and that's not really a place where you see art necessarily. And so it was really nice for me to go there and not give back, but like just to bring a part of me back to that area,
Okay. I know you're an inspiration to so many people. What's your advice to that artist who would like to turn their creativity into a full-time career?
Oh, I'm not good at advice. I think it's really just making sure that you're honest with yourself, So that's, as you're creating work, you're doing something that is authentic to your vision and to your purpose. Sometimes it'll align with making money and sometimes it won't. But the more you keep true to yourself, the more fulfilled you'll be. Sometimes, you'll have to do things just to pay the bills. And that's just sort of that's just a part of life. But being true to what you want to do as a creative person, I think is probably something that should always be at top of mind.
So what are you working on now, or is it top secret?
We've got a couple of top secret things. At the moment, I just wrapped up a wall for AT&T and Living Walls. So this is a wall that's in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And so this weekend, we're actually going to unveil it. So we've got a wall there. And then I'm working on a solo show for next month. So that should be something that I need to really focus on in the coming couple months. But other than that, some other things that are cooking that aren't really ready yet.
Well, Sunitna, thanks again for taking time out of your busy schedule. I can't wait to see your upcoming work.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Well, I hope you enjoy getting to know some of the genius creatives in the Atlanta street art scene. Whether you live in Atlanta or just visiting, you can tour our city's urban murals through the online maps. These maps will show you the exact location of the dozens of murals all over town. Just Google Atlanta street art. I'm Simone Monet. Like and subscribe for more content. See you next time.